a tough one, man. I never saw this side of Tom Papa. This is the don't fuck around. I got to build a train set.
I have a train set, and it was really chaos. I was working on it. It was going along well. You know, we have a village under the tree.
Save it. We're gonna talk about this. We good?
You're rolling? Well, you don't want to miss the story because this is
336, right?
What?
We're up to 336.
Yeah.
Okay. Hello, this is Alonzo Bodden. I want to welcome you to episode 336 of my podcast, Who's Paying Attention? And today, my guest is the incredibly funny, just comedian, actor, game show host, star, and I just found out talent representative, Tom Papa, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, I'd like to talk to you about this podcast. I don't know if Aaron can hear us, but you are getting hosed.
Tom, to my audience, Tom was actually making deals for another podcast right before walking on this podcast. The man's got his finger in everything. He's a businessman. He's making it happen.
I wish it was real.
So, Tom, since we last talked, they've added a new variant.
Yeah, the Godzilla's nemesis, Omicron.
The Omicron
I know.
is out.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I heard it just got to L.A. or California.
They found the first case in California.
Right.
I'm about to join the anti-vaxxers just because it's easier.
That is the feeling that everybody had, from the president on down. It's like the message is really hilarious. This might suck, but we're not doing anything about it. We can't go backwards. We just can't.
We're done.
Yeah, everyone's done. We saved as many people as we could save. We did all the right things. And now we're still going to go to the movies. We can't do it.
So how was Thanksgiving for you this year? Was it different than last year? Did family come in? Did you travel? What was?
This was better for sure. We had two nephews that were traveling that are California and got to come in. My parents did not come. But it was everybody back at the table, full bore, and I was literally trying to think, what did we do last year? Because I always cook, I host it, I do the whole thing, and it's like weeks of prep and work and the whole thing, and I love it. And I was like, what did we do last year? I couldn't remember, and I looked at my iPhone and looked at last year. It was my wife and daughters, and who weren't looking that happy. And on the other side of the table was Paul Morrissey, the comedian Paul Morrissey, who I work with a lot. And it was just him. And I was like, this was so bad, I blocked it out. I don't even know if I was there. So this year, everybody rolled in, and it was just full on. We did have like somebody who was like one of the guests' daughter's friend was with someone who ended up having COVID. So we let everybody know.
Before or after?
Before.
Okay.
And the family, so we were like, just to let everybody know, this is, a couple times removed, but it is in orbit. Same thing with the Omicron. Everybody was like, you know what? I feel like we're all one step away from COVID. We're coming over for Thanksgiving. And tell that family they can come. We do not care.
Yeah, it's, they're saying that they don't know yet if the vaccine works on this new one because there's mutations and this and that. But this is what I was talking about, because I was reading the stories, and they're getting to the point now where you do have to be a scientist to understand, where it's like, okay, listen, you guys tell me what to do. Now, I've had 2 shots and a booster.
Yeah.
Am I okay?
Yeah.
Am I not okay? Because I can't follow the mutations and...
No. And that's why it's the only part of this of the Omicron that makes me like, is that some people seem to be a little concerned. They seem a little bit, and then seeing Fauci saying, we don't have to be concerned about this yet. And I was like, I remember those press conferences from the early part. You don't have to wear a mask yet. I was like, all right. And no, I don't believe there's ever an ill intent with that guy. But, they only know as much as they know.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things that the word gets out before they know anything.
Yes.
And then they can't answer any questions. Because Right now, the last I heard, which it might have changed in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Delta is still more stronger than Omicron.
Yeah.
So, and it's just like you said, like the monster movies. Like this could be a Saturday afternoon black and white movie with really bad special effects.
Yeah.
Right. Delta meets Omicron.
Oh man, I love. Oh man, could you imagine if Ramthar goes against Omicron? That would be epic. Yeah, but I do believe. And I've been wrong about everything since 2019. Everything.
Just so the audience knows, you have teenage daughters, correct?
Yes.
So you're wrong about everything already.
Yes, I've accepted that, but I did still carry that. You guys think I'm an idiot, but I'm really a grown person who knows things. You may think I'm an idiot, but now I think it's confirmed they're just right. Everything I've said has been wrong. I was like, there's no way Trump is getting in. There's no way this virus is going to spread. I mean, everything I've been wrong about. So I hesitate to say.
Is there any faith left in the Papa household for Dad, or do they just...
The faith that they have in me, and I believe this is the case, and I'm probably wrong about this too. But the faith that I think they have in me is that I am going to lighten the burden. I am going to, no matter what we're faced with, I am going to spin it in such a way where we're not going to take this all that seriously. I think they can rely on me for that.
It is something you do excellently. Your comedy, and to my audience, there are certain comics that I feel we have like a mutual respect level, and I definitely have that for you.
Likewise.
But what you do, it looks effortless, and yet it's brilliantly funny, and you have tapped into, I shouldn't even say tapped into, no, I'm going to go the other way. Mm-hmm. You're old school. You're a comic. You stand in front of a microphone and talk. There's no flashing lights. There's no pyro. There's no, you just, you literally do stand-up comedy, and it is hilarious.
Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
What do you think about that, though? Because I'm blanking on names, which I always do, but comedy, it'll come to me after the podcast. But we've watched it. I've been in 28 years. How long you been in?
About the same. What year did you start?
93.
Me too.
Yeah, okay. So you've seen, we had this kind of comedy, that kind of comedy. It was Rick Overton. Rick Overton said to me one time, he said, it always comes back to funny. Mm-hmm. Like whatever fad they have, whether it be alternative, and then we went through every ethnic group, got a shot.
Right.
I had a guy tell me once, black, that hasn't worked since the 70s, so he shot me down right there. I was like, man, that's all I got, He's like, not gay, nothing? I was like, nah, that's all I got. So, but you, just a straight white male with a microphone, that went out in the 50s.
Yeah, that's right.
What are you doing?
That's really, some guy, I think it was Jason Zinnemann at the Times, said, he tweeted something like, a great message, or a very funny message in a very a progressive funny message in an unlikely package. Because I was just there with my glasses and my suit and doing the thing. But I do believe that is the truth, and I think that look, are people, we all went through the comic strip in New York, and you would go into the comic strip and you would sit down with Lucian Hold, who was the guy who would pass you or not, and he, whatever you were, he would say, well, look, I've already got 5 middle-aged white guys.
Right.
I've already got 5 tall black guys.
Yeah.
I've already got 5 Asian guys. And I think he did it on purpose. I think he did it to see if you wanted it bad enough.
Right. See if you're going to give up.
Because there's always a reason. And, and you could take like the comics from the clubs and put them in those alt rooms in Brooklyn, and they're going to, that's going to be a thing. And everybody I don't know of any person in my 28 years who showed up and was kick-ass funny, regardless of whatever they are, that didn't stick around. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like there was no Wanda Sykes that was there and packed up and went home. You know what I mean? Like funny, that's the beauty of comedy, is that funny does win out.
and you have to do it. Like if you're funny, you're gonna find a way because we love doing it, right?
Yeah.
So they throw every obstacle in your way, like you said. Like my thing was with Jamie at the Laugh Factory because that was the first A club that I went. You know, you do the 3-minute open mic. He told me to be a sports comic. He said, buddy, you come on stage in uniform, you do sport jokes.
In uniform.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I was like, yeah, Jamie, I'm gonna stretch out.
Yeah. Oh my God. I think there definitely has been an opening up in bookers' minds and stuff, but I think that's part of the audience too. It's like the number of, like, I host the show on Sirius XM, right, with Fortune, and it's on the Netflix channel. And we just every day talk to comedians, and it is different now than when we started. Like there are drag queens, gay men, gay women, trans. I mean, we just went through a whole bunch of indigenous people that are comedians. Like it's like that was not around when we were starting out. Like it was, and the audience got educated. It was like the audience was so shitty to female comics when I started.
Right.
It was like they were so. You're kind of funny for a woman was like the biggest compliment you could get.
Yeah, I had Laurie Kilmartin on, and we were talking about that.
Yeah.
But they say there's still no shows have 2 women on them. And it happens sometimes, but it's still like I was surprised that that's still a thing. It's like, aren't we past the woman comics aren't funny thing yet?
I think so. I mean, Laurie, Laurie is probably has more perspective because she's fighting that fight all the time. And I'm married to a female comedian, and it's different. I mean, my shows in New York, it's a lot. Sometimes it's mostly women.
Yeah.
But the audience used to be shitty. The audience wouldn't accept it.
Right,
Now the audience is like, oh shit, yeah.
Yeah. They don't grade on a curve.
Yeah.
Anymore.
But what I do is just you only can do what you do. You can't even think of. You're not really responsible for anything but yourself. You know what I mean? I was thinking about that. Like, I do a lot of jokes about my wife and my kids, and just in relationships and stuff. And sometimes when I'm like, I do this joke about men having this incredible amount of self-esteem and confidence built on nothing, and that the line something like, and they just walk out of the house. They're the most disgusting creatures on the planet, and yet they walk out of the house and think every woman wants me.
Yeah.
And there's a little inkling in my head that's like wants to say, but if you're into women, they also think it. If they're gay, they think that it's because all the men want them too.
Right.
If they're trans, they think this, and they. But you know what? It's not really you. You are telling your joke from your perspective. You don't have to
put the qualifier on every joke.
Yes.
We don't give the side effects, right? Like on a drug commercial, we can't say this joke applies to straight men if you are gay, trans, or blah blah blah. We can't.
No, it's just you just have to tell your thing, and that is the thing that comes from you. And if people are like, hey, what you didn't mention those people in your joke, it's like you're paying too close attention. Or you're not. It's not really why we're here.
Have you won any awards in comedy?
No. Are there any?
There were some. I remember they used to do that comic of the year, but then when they went to voting online, they said people just figured out how to hack the voting, and like open micers got 6 million votes.
You don't need awards. You just sell more tickets.
Yeah, that's the award. Like, hey, here's more money.
Yeah,
here's how much we love you.
Yeah,
here's more.
He's playing in front of bigger and bigger crowds.
Is there anything you haven't done yet that you want to do, comedy-wise?
Yeah, it's kind of changing. I always had the idea that I wanted to have a sitcom. I wanted to do. We grew up. That was like you saw your favorite comedians had shows, and would do it. And now when you talk to comedians that are in the throes of making shows, they're miserable, and like there's a freedom to what we do now.
Yeah.
Where you always had to do something else to get people to show up. Very few comics are just selling out giant places because they're just great comics. Brian Regan is kind of an outlier, and Sebastian was that way also.
Yeah.
But that's very unusual. Everybody else needs a movie hit or something, accumulation of roles and all that kind of stuff. But now in the world of podcasting and social media and all these other things, you don't really need a sitcom.
No, you can do it off the grid. Well, off the network
Or
grid.
just on your own terms.
Right.
And, so like say you got a show and you had to go and go show up and sit in an office for 8 hours a day and try and make this thing that all these other people are involved in. What I'm trying to say is like that was one of the things I wanted to do, and I don't know if I do any longer.
Well, it's a lot of work, but the other thing that people don't realize or forget, network sitcom, the money is ridiculous. Like it's still...
That's a reason to do it, for sure.
It still pays, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
like it still pays ridiculous amounts, and a failed network show is like, oh, you only have 3 million people a week watching you,
Right.
That's the part that
Yes.
yeah, there's a bunch of other things, but and I'm not a sitcom guy at all. Like I've learned in the world of scripted versus unscripted, like I need to stay in unscripted. You know, I can't pretend to be someone else. I'm just
Let me be me.
Let me be me, unless it's a bouncer.
Yeah.
I even had a friend trying to get me on as bus driver, and they were like, "Nah, we don't buy it. Nah, it's not a bus driver. He's security.
He's Alonzo. He's just Alonzo. Why is Alonzo riding a bus?
So, but you had the Marriage Ref, and you've done some other game shows, right? I've
hosted
game shows.
I've hosted shows and National Geographic and these other ones, and yeah, I did that stuff. I had a couple pilots. I had a pilot that got on the air for like 6 episodes. I've always been knocking around, and I love it. I love all that kind of stuff. Like, it's still like fun to be on set, and it's fun to, as long as you can be funny.
Yeah.
I'll show up.
Well, I remember when we had this Just for Laughs tour that you were headlining, and you missed the entire tour because you were shooting your show. It was like featuring Tom Papa, who won't be here because he got a better gig.
He won't be here until we get to Vancouver.
Oh, that was hilarious.
Yeah.
That was great. It was like we had to cover for you every week because you were
I know. I felt bad. But I did that tour once before I had any TV where you just went for the whole month of November by mostly bus, crossing all of Canada.
Yeah, all of Canada.
Oh,
and people don't, it's funny because we as Americans, right, forget how big Canada is.
So big.
People think Canada extends from like Montreal to Toronto, and then there's Vancouver, and there's nothing else. And it's like, oh no.
And they're not completely wrong. There's a couple of spots in between, but there's a long bus ride before you get to the next
Moose Jaw,
hockey.
Red Deer. How can you not?
London.
How can you not want to do the Red Deer gig?
They're all great. It was fun, but it was a long time to be away.
Yeah, it's a tour.
And it was a tour, and on our bus, we had a comedian, John Wing from Canada, and he was a little older, kind of cranky, kind of a bookish guy, and Kevin Brennan, who is cranky, and it's hard to get a good 20 minutes of him being in a good mood. I love him. Like we were really good friends, and the two of those guys hated each other. And that tour will break you down. Yeah. And those guys snapped, and the rest of the tour was trying to make sure those guys don't punch each other in the face in the parking lot.
I had that experience with Orny.
That's right. When I came back,
he is the only comic I cannot get along with, and that was the tour where it was like, yeah, I'm going to kill him.
I got back the day after it peaked.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, because that was when Hots told me, Hots said, Alonzo, you cannot get arrested in Canada for beating the hell out of Orny Adams. Like, you can't.
You were close,
You can't let that happen, Yeah, that was, yeah, it happens on tour, to people. And again, I've never had that problem before or since. But yeah, there's certain times when people rub you the wrong way, and it's like, man, one more word.
I remember that because I got there, and then it was like, okay, the show's over. Should we go you guys want to go to the bar in the hotel? It was like, is Orny going to be there? Is Alonzo going to be there? We had to kind of walk around it.
Yeah, that was not my best moment.
Yeah.
But it is what it is.
Yeah, you guys had a thing, but I love like any of that kind of stuff. Is like it all just adds, So any kind of hosting, I love hosting, and I love acting, and I love all that stuff. And if you can have more people know you to come to your shows, that's what it's all about, So as long as I could just be funny, and be able to host, then I'll do it.
Okay, I hate asking you this as a comic, but I have to ask for the audience. You work a lot with Jerry Seinfeld.
I used to, yeah.
Used to, right? What's that like, working with the guy who is definitely for a while on top of comedy, like the biggest name and this and that? What is that like, working with him?
And I would argue he still is.
I should say in that orbit. What's it like working in that orbit?
It's amazing. Whenever people ask me what was your biggest break in comedy, it was meeting him. It was running into him in New York, and he was coming back to stand up, and he came up to me and said he thought I was funny. And I grabbed onto his coattails and didn't let go. I was like, I'm going to suck everything out that I can. And it was. I treated it as an education. Mm-hmm. And it was at a time where I wasn't sure, like, can you write this way? And was my method okay? Was this the right way to be a comic? And he was very similar. The blessing was that he worked very similar to the way that I did, that he really treated it as a craft, and it was like, you do the work and you go up with the jokes, and it was like confirmation that I was okay, and that he said that I was funny was
right.
Like, all right, this is this is validation, and I just took anything I could learn from him. I did. I watched him on the side of the stage. When I opened for him, and just the way he worked and how he didn't screw around with after the shows.
Yeah,
just everything. It was like, it's like if you were a rookie ball player and you came in and, Derek Jeter was like, hey, took a liking to you, that you're a fool not to take that seriously.
Yeah, he's one of the few that I've never met.
Oh, really?
Never met him.
Oh, wow.
mean, and I'm friends with George Wallace, who's his best friend.
Yeah.
Is my mentor and my old friend.
Oh,
so,
you get along great.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean,
the same school.
Nothing but good. And you said something interesting, though, about questioning your method and this and that. What is it about, and this is true of comics, it's probably true of other creatives and other artists, but the ones who are great seem to question themselves the most. Like the idea that you question your method when everybody's like, yeah, Tom's writing is impeccable. Like it's just no wasted words. Everything leads to a point. You are besides being a great comic, you're a great joke writer, and yet you question your method. I imagine that Jerry was probably like, maybe I don't want to follow this guy.
Yeah, I think everybody does. I think you're right. Like every artist, I think you do. I think there's a vulnerability and a doubt that keeps you working, right? It keeps you hustling up and going for it. And it was from like being around people like Jerry or, really great actors or great directors or whatever, and realizing you never really lose that.
Now,
there's no finish line. There's no like, oh, I know what I'm doing.
Where do the bad ones get the confidence then?
Oh, that is a level of ego that can just win the day.
Tom, this crowd sucks. These people don't get it.
Yeah. Or they come off and like, I crushed. And I was like, what? Were you that was you
show?
on stage. That was you, right? No, there is a blind level of super ego out there that just, and they're the ones that can post like crazy and just keep going. They're their own hype men.
Yeah.
There's something to that. Like, it's not why I got into it, but it seems effective.
Something I was told early on, and I've never been great at marketing. Let me stop. I've never even been good at marketing. Okay.
Yeah.
But I remember back in the 90s, there was a guy, he was just always selling, hustling. And they said, yeah, he'll work everywhere once.
Right.
Like he could talk his way into
Yeah.
anything, and then once he got on stage, it was like, where's the guy you were talking about?
Yeah, but there seems to be look, comedy's very it's a very fair environment, and you can, when you're up there, you have to be funny, or you have to create enough for the people to enjoy themselves. You can get them all in, but yeah, but there's, and it's difficult, it's hard. So there's a lot of hype people that don't stick around that long either because it's difficult.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's kind of changed now. Like, there are people that have massive audiences, and it seems to be built on nothing but their personality, but it does last because people do want to be with it. There's a celebrity. It's based on like a celebrity that they're able to genuinely cultivate themselves.
And people have fallen in love with that. Like society has fallen in love with celebrity for celebrity's sake. Like Kanye doesn't even make music anymore, right? He's like, what am I?
Yeah. Right.
Just change my name periodically.
Yeah.
You know? And when he does, he's still good, but he's like, there's no reason for it. But in the comedy world, on those shows, right? Because clubs love those shows because they sell tickets.
Sure.
But then they always get a couple of comics to put on the show. They said, well, we got to make sure everyone has a good time.
Right. Yeah. But, you know, it used to, before social media, you would go through all these towns, and if you didn't do well, you probably didn't come back. But now it's like the show, you just post pictures of the crowd. No one knows whether it went well or not.
Yeah.
Post pictures of you like getting out of the car and walking to the thing in slow motion. Everyone's like, okay, like you never see the jokes, you just see all the other stuff. And who, you know, they'll sell just as good the next time because it's, you know, there's a different component to it that's outside of what the actual thing of comedy is.
Right. And
right.
Until, I think it was it Chris Rock? I think it was on Comedian with Jerry Seinfeld. It was somewhere where he said, yeah, that fame will get you the first 5 minutes. Then you have to be funny.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Right. So all of that hype will get him in the seat. But then
that's if you're a guy
once the show starts.
But don't you think that's if you're a guy that's concerned with doing a good stand-up show? Like Chris is a guy he's not going to, like, there's another element at play now where it's not necessary. Not everybody's in it. Like when you said in the beginning, like you're a classic stand-up comedian. I take that to mean that I really care about the jokes and that job of making that as tight as funny as possible. But there's a lot of other people that have come into this realm that's not really their first interest.
Yeah, they're interested in being famous.
Yeah,
you know. But what happens with the audience is, and my friend Matt Kazam, he always says, the audience, when they see like you or me or whatever, he said, but when they see it done right, they're amazed. They're like, oh,
that's what it is.
That's how it's supposed to be that funny? Because I was just watching this over there and it was loud.
Yeah, it was loud.
You're not loud.
Yeah. And, you know, things change and things evolve, right? So it's like, you know, there's a lot of young people who their favorite comedian has never done stand-up. They just have, you know, they're just really funny online. They're really funny with YouTube and that kind of thing. And it's like, that's okay. And you can't really fight against that. And that's good. That's what they were into and that's what they do. But that's like saying, you know, you're a great golfer and you're annoyed that people are coming in and being great at frisbee golf or at wiffle ball. It's like, you know, that's okay. They can do that, but I don't do that. I do this.
I'm not mad at them anymore. I really never was, but I always knew that I'm not that. So that's why it doesn't bother me. Like if I'm not trying to get a million YouTubers or whatever, you know, because I see people when they post the plaque, I think you get 100,000 or a million something. YouTube sends you a plaque, and then you know, like Mitch Hedberg's joke, and then I found out I can buy a plaque.
Right.
All right, listen, Tom. It's called Who's Paying Attention, because we got to get into that issues.
Let's do it.
That's what we talk about.
That's why I'm here.
We got it's been in obviously just another week in the United States, a new variant, school shootings.
Omicron.
You know, political whatever. Gas is $19 a gallon.
Yeah.
But it's that time of year, so I got to ask you, Merry Christmas or Happy Holidays? Which side of the war do you fall on?
I'll throw. I think I keep the feelers out. I keep the feelers out, and if it feels like a Christmas environment, I'll throw some Merry Christmases. If I come in and it's obvious that that's not the way the person rolls, I'll give them a Happy Holidays.
So here's another question, and I've yet to hear this question answered. How does Happy Hanukkah avoid the controversy of the war on Christmas? How did Happy Hanukkah slip right between?
No one cares. No one cares. It's Hanukkah right now. And I keep getting my Jewish friends to get excited about it. I'm like, hey. And they're like, whatever. They're just not into, unless you have little kids and you're trying to keep the ball going. All my other friends are just like, yeah, whatever. It's not really our thing. Yeah, I was like, come on, someone's got to start coming up with some Hanukkah songs. Let's do it.
I think Adam Sandler did the Hanukkah song, and that was it. They were
Mic
like,
drop.
okay, we don't need to write another one.
Yeah, mic drop.
All right. So big controversy in the and we may need this again in the food delivery world. I don't know if you've heard about this, but it seems that certain McDonald's have a whole section dedicated to people who don't tip on DoorDash, and they just leave your food there because the DoorDash people, if you ain't tipping, they're not picking it up. Now, a few of the customers said, well, we tip afterwards to see how the delivery is. And so what do you think of this food delivery controversy, right? We might be going into Omicron. We might be locked down again.
No way.
Do you tip in advance? Do you tip?
I tip in advance because I'm so hungry. By the time the food gets there, I don't even look at my phone. And then like a week later, I'll go to order something. I'll be like, how did Debbie do? I was like, when did I see Debbie? I was like, so I tip before because I figure it's not just, there's some things at play. One is that I figure if I tip before, they'll see the tip and think I'm a good guy. And maybe not eat my food on the way. And the other part is that I'm forgetful. So I want them to know that that a good tip is this one's worth it. Do they find out about the tip until it's over, or do they find out in the beginning?
No, they find out in the beginning. That's how they know what food to pick up.
That's
so
good.
They're saying if you don't tip, they're kind of slow to pick up your food versus the one who tips. I had an Uber driver who said that he has a guy with a standing order of coffee and an Egg McMuffin every morning at like 8 o'clock. And I'm thinking, how much more do you put? Like coffee and an Egg McMuffin cost $2, right? Or something.
Yeah.
So
the delivery's got to be more.
The delivery has to be more, and then you tip. So this guy's probably going $10
Yeah, just to avoid going down to the place. I just read a thing with Jay Leno. They in an interview said that he never gets room service. He said, if you're too lazy, he goes, I'm not, first of all, he doesn't go to fancy restaurants.
Yeah.
He says he gets all his food from men in paper hats at every fast food place he could go to. And he doesn't get room service because he thinks it's too fancy. And how lazy are you not to walk downstairs and get the food?
I have to be honest, I don't do food delivery for the same reason.
Really?
Because I'm like, I will never leave the house. If I have a friend and he's got the whole thing. So he's got Alexa connected to all of his favorite places. So he's like, Alexa, order me a pizza, or Alexa, order chicken. And I'm like, I would never leave the house. No, I'll order it in advance, but I have to go pick it up myself.
You do.
Otherwise, I'm just gonna. I'd be 450. I'd weigh 450 and have a reinforced couch.
I'm going to say the difference between Leno, yourself, and me is that I'm the only one that has kids and dogs, and I'm in the family thing, and there's no getting in the car and going to get it. If someone can come bring it, if anyone can make this enterprise a hair easier, I'm all for it, and I'm tipping a lot.
Well, that's how you get it done, though. That I respect that. That's how you get it. That's how you get it done.
Yeah, I'm all about it. Uber
and Lyft guys. drivers, I shouldn't say guys, I'll say drivers. Where do you stand on that and tipping them and that whole world?
I love it. I tip. If somebody is really bad, I won't. You know, like if they're dangerous, I figure if they're dangerous, if they're distracted, if there's those people should be out of work. They shouldn't be doing that job anymore, right? Because it's not going to be good for anybody. So to nudge them out with not great tips, I'll never stiff them, but I'll do less than 20.
Yeah.
You know? But yeah, I mean, I kind of feel like this dedication to them because they're the first ones that came up with, you don't have to deal with money. You don't have to deal with a transaction at the end of this. Was so nice.
I respect the hustle. I think my thing is the car. Okay. Like I don't even do regular Uber because there's just too many Priuses in the fleet.
Yeah, I know.
You shouldn't be allowed to get paid to put someone in the back of a Prius. All right.
So what do you order?
I do the XL.
The XL.
Or the Comfort or XL.
Right.
Because usually it's only like $5 more, and then at least you're getting a grown-up car.
I had to get one yesterday to go pick up my car that was being fixed, and I knew I was going to be on the freeway.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be in a Prius. If we hit something, I want a chance of survival. So I ordered the XL.
Right.
And the guy pulled up in like a giant minivan. And he was kind of insulted that I was the only one getting in the car. He's like, "Just you?"
Yeah.
I was like, "Yeah."
See, I've gotten lucky and had you do Uber Comfort and then you get like a Suburban or an Escalade like Uber Black because nobody's ordering it. So they got to make some money.
Yeah.
So they're like, all right, I'm taking this call. And it's like, okay, I'll take the Suburban for the same price.
Uber or Lyft?
Uber.
Yeah.
I used to do Lyft, but Lyft prices seem to have gone up for some unknown reason.
Everybody keeps saying the opposite. Everyone's
Really?
like, well, Lyft is up. No, Uber's up. And I guess it depends where you're at.
Yeah. Now, when they do the surge thing, then Uber gets insane on their pricing. That's when I'll do Lyft.
Do you do it around town?
Not really, unless, like you said, I got to pick up a car or bike or something from the shop. Otherwise,
yeah, I would like to not drive all the time, but I get nauseous. I look at my phone 1 second.
Yeah.
If I look down, I am screwed for hours. I don't know what that is, an ear problem or something.
I know someone he was a comic, and he said he gave up his car and he just Ubers everywhere.
Yeah.
And he said it's like the same as having a car payment and insurance and all of that. But I don't.
Then why do it?
I don't know that I depend on I still rather have my car.
When my car wasn't ready, it ended up being ready, but I was like, oh, so I got to go to the Comedy Store tomorrow night. And I don't have a car, I'll just Uber. The idea of getting an Uber outside the Comedy Store on Sunset with all these other people trying to get it is just like, that'll ruin my whole day.
Yeah.
Worrying about when I'm going to get picked up after my spot.
Do you have siblings?
Yes, 2 sisters.
2 sisters. Okay. I have a brother. So the Cuomo brothers seem to be in trouble.
Right. Because the one brother helped out the handsy brother?
Yeah. Do you take that hit if you're on the news and your brother is, handsy? Do you take the hit for him, like trying to cover for him or not really talk about him, risking your news job?
Yeah, you've got to back up your own. But, to what point? Like, I don't know what's he accused of?
Just that soft selling the story and kind of hiding. I don't know.
Oh, so the guy on CNN,
right?
The guy on CNN wasn't coming at him as hard because it's his brother.
Right. He comes hard at everyone else, and then see. Here's the thing that's
it's your brother.
This is the thing that's strange to me. My brother and I, and my brother's great friend, right? I gave him a kidney.
Yeah.
We don't talk about sex.
Yeah. Why should you?
It seems kind of weird to talk to your brother about, hey, you.
Ew.
Exactly.
No.
So put in this situation, and I'm just looking.
Yeah, it's his brother. I mean, look, people want to get mad at him, I'm sure, but it's your own, and you just happen to be in that spot. I'm sure he talked about it.
Well, they say, okay, like here, the CNN anchor pressed sources for information on his brother's accusers and reported back to his staff and was helping craft their responses. So as a talker, he was kind of teaching, I guess, helping him with the lie. Like, in other words, I work in the news, so this is what you should say and shouldn't say to the news, and let me find out.
Oh, he was coaching.
Sources. Yeah.
Right.
He was coaching people involved.
Yeah. You know what? I know this sounds horrible, but when Cuomo came out and said I wasn't like, I'm paraphrasing, but basically I wasn't a creep. I'm just Italian.
Yeah, that wasn't.
I understood it.
No,
As an Italian, I was like, yeah, I get that. They are very handsy people. Very like, everybody loves me. And I'm sure it got horrible and went over the line. But there was a part of that that's like, we're Italian. And I'm sure the Italian thing also goes to the brothers thing.
Yeah. Well, the brother thing, that you are going to help your brother. Like if you have some experience, like if my brother's a techie, right? And if he had to do something and be funny, I might, help him with being funny. But the Italian thing, wouldn't that be within the culture though? And like in other words,
it has to be Italian on Italian.
Right. When you're with Italians, the culture does this. But when you're the governor and she's a reporter from blah blah blah, it's like
Connecticut.
Yeah, maybe my hands.
I'm not saying he did the right thing, but I understand it's his Italianness that got him in trouble.
Way back, and this turned out to be great advice for life. But when I worked in aerospace, right, you're walking around, there's all kind of machinery, there's this and that. And they taught us, they said, walk around with your hands in your pockets so you don't touch anything.
Right.
Like it was like, just keep your hands in your pocket. Shouldn't that, at this point.
Great advice.
Poli-science in college in your freshman year, should they not say, okay, keep your hands in your pockets
yes.
at all times?
Absolutely. It's so hard. Oh God. I mean, I married a comedian. I mean, if you're working really hard, like the only place you meet people is at work.
Yeah.
But you got to go all in. You have to marry each other.
Right.
Like you can't
you
can't flirt with them and think you got to be like, you got to be committed if you're going to cross that line at work.
But as a comic, you have no reputation as a creeper.
No.
Like the women in comedy and the women who work at the clubs, the bartenders, the staff, they know who the creeper comics are. They know the moment you hit town, like they're like, okay, just stay 5 feet away.
Right. Yeah, exactly. No, yeah. God. What I think as a brother to brother, it's like he shouldn't do it, and I'm sure he maybe crossed the line, but I get it. I mean, you're kind of it's kind of like a Shakespearean thing. Like your family is now, it's one of those tragedies, and you're just a victim of your brother's handiwork.
All right. We got to wrap up soon, so I got to go through this. When we came in, you said that this podcast interrupted you building the Christmas train set.
Yes. Actually, it's repairing. We put up the tree. Our tradition is Thanksgiving weekend, we put up the tree. We get right into it. Mm-hmm. So we did the whole tree, and then the second phase is the train set underneath with the village. It's a little village with lit up homes and people and the whole thing. It's great. I've been doing it since I was 10. And it keeps growing even at this age. I'm like, I do laugh at myself when I'm laying under the tree with my legs sticking out and I'm trying to get a house thing. I'm like literally been doing this since I was 10. And at the same time, we got one of those automatic, the iRobot, the Roombas, that vacuum your whole house. Well, we're very excited about that invention in the house with our dogs and stuff. And the Roomba did not connect the dots. And the Roomba jumped the train tracks and took a walk through the village. It was a bloodbath.
It was a monster.
A bloodbath.
A monster hit the village.
Omicron hit my Christmas village. There were people decimated. There's no hospital in the town, so bodies are just lined up on the train tracks. It's a horror show.
I can imagine the dogs saying, if we did that.
Oh, yes, exactly. The dogs have got spanked a couple times going across already. So I have to rewire everything. There's and the wiring was kind of suspect anyway, so I've got to get in there and do it right. So I had to stop at the hardware store on the way to see you to get this clamp like these pliers that help you get the insulation off the wire, and then all that
stripping
stuff. And now,
pliers and
as
stuff.
I'm talking, I realize I forgot to buy electrical tape. So I guess I got to go on the way there.
Yeah. All right. So hearing that, and also knowing to my audience, Tom is handy in the kitchen. Famous for baking his bread. I did his podcast. I got the sourdough bread.
Yes, sir.
So here we have from BuzzFeed 16 holiday tricks, habits, and hacks that will make you say, I wish I'd known that. All right. So I want to see if you know these things, or did you not know them? Okay. Number 1.
Yes.
Freeze Cool Whip on a sheet pan, then use cookie cutters to make hot chocolate floaters.
Ooh, no. My daughter will like that hack.
All right. That's
a good one, yeah.
All right.
Small enough to fit in the cup, though.
Here's one I'm not sure is a great idea. Add vodka to the pie crust to make it flakier.
To make grandma flaky.
I don't know. Do you want to break out the vodka when baking the Christmas pie?
No, you don't.
Not a good idea, right?
No, you don't. And it'll probably cook off anyway.
Yeah, it says vodka adds moisture to the dough. And it says most of the alcohol evaporates.
Just use butter.
Yeah, but it says most. That's the key. Grandma.
Grandma's flaking out.
I like that one.
We just threw out the last of. We're hanging on to the Thanksgiving pies. They start to look sad and starting to sweat. It's like, it's got to go.
All right. See what you think of this one. Slide a sock onto your cup for a reusable coffee cozy.
Ugh. What? What are you doing? Are you trapped? Ew. God. We are not short on
coffee
cups and cozies for the cups. Keep your socks on.
Add some fresh cranberries to ice cubes to make your drinks or punch look extra festive.
It's dumb.
Yeah, that's a lot of work.
I'm not doing that one.
Seems a lot.
I'm a cranberry fan, but...
Oh, yeah, okay.
Then it melts and you got a cranberry in whatever drink you have.
Right, now you got a cranberry in your drink.
Yeah, that's not good.
Upgrade mac and cheese into restaurant quality dish with a secret ingredient, boiled cauliflower.
Ew. People are really trying to work the cauliflower into our life.
Is that the thing now?
Yep.
This is the new avocado? Is cauliflower the new avocado?
They got it in with the buffalo cauliflower, like the veggie buffalo. That's as far as we can get. And it's because it's smothered in sauce. It's a boring vegetable. It's not going to be broccoli. Quit it.
Right.
It's not the new pumpkin spice.
Fill squeeze bottles with icing to make cookie decorating a little easier and less messy.
Fill what?
Squeeze bottles.
Squeeze bottles.
Yeah, like, those
with your
squeeze
icing.
Like ketchup.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Right.
You could see that in a
Do you decorate cookies?
I don't.
I was going to say, who's got the time?
Yeah, my wife and kids do.
Who's got that kind of time? Look at that. The cookie's wearing a red and white Christmas sweater.
That's stupid. Maybe my wife will make it. I love Christmas cookies. But
here we go. Here we go. You're going to love this one. If you didn't like the sock, you're going to love this one.
No, put underwear on your...
Use less filler by sticking an empty toilet paper roll in the middle of your hurricane vase.
What are they doing? Stop it.
What could be better than burning a candle inside a cardboard roll? Like, what could go wrong?
Yeah, exactly. And a shit roll, because it's the only way you get to that is because it's been used up in the bathroom for the last week. No, thank you.
Refrigerate your mixing bowl before making whipped cream to get it extra fluffy.
Maybe.
Do you whip your own cream? Do you
No, my wife does, though. When we had
Does
the
she
pies
really?
on Thanksgiving, it was, I was like, where's the Cool Whip? And she almost slapped me. She's like,
Wow.
We don't do Cool Whip. We make our own.
Wow.
And, yeah.
That's tradition.
Yeah. She didn't cool off the bowl, though. It didn't seem needed.
See, this one, it just seems to me kind of redundant, but it says use vanilla pudding mix in your cookie dough for chewier, softer cookies.
Vanilla pudding.
Yeah.
I don't know. These cookie people are losing their minds. Keep it simple.
Yeah. You're going to bake cookies, but now you're going to add pudding to the cookie you're baking, and then
go to your...
And then you got to decorate it.
And then you got to go get your diabetes medication.
Look at that. That doesn't look like a cookie. That looks like some kind of cake thing, right?
That looks like something the toilet paper roll helped you out with.
I don't know about these Christmas hacks. I'm not sure.
Yeah. The only good one, the only cool one was the Cool Whip one.
Yeah. Okay.
To go in the hot chocolate.
You say you decorate the house.
I do.
Seamlessly hang a wreath using an upside down command hook on the back of a door.
Huh? Hang the wreath with a hook.
Upside down hook on the back of the door.
On the back of the door. I don't know. Why is that so great?
You put the hook on the back and then you...
Oh, and then put the ribbon over the top.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh. Yeah, that's pretty good. Or you could just...
Yeah, see?
Or you could just put the... yeah, that's pretty good, I guess. Or you could just put the wreath on the hook. On the front.
Yeah, why...
Right? The way we've been doing it since Ben Franklin days.
Oh, this is good.
Give me something useful.
All right, see if this... Are you a wine person?
Yes.
Chill wine really fast by wrapping it in a wet towel and sticking it in the freezer.
That could come in handy when the dummies that like white wine come over.
Right, and they show up with the bottle at dinner.
Right, and they're like, we want white wine. You're like, ugh, we serve red here because we're classy.
I like your ugh. I like that. There's not much that, they know what you mean. When you deliver it. That's the best ugh since Gary Goldman. Ugh. Gary Goldman has a good ugh.
He does have a good one.
Simmer fruits and spices in water to make your home smell like the holidays.
That's not only... that's a bad hack, because you take, why water? You should take cloves and cinnamon and put it all in apple cider. And then your house will
really get.
Yeah.
But couldn't you just buy the air fresheners?
You could buy a candle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just as good.
So these people live in a cabin, I guess.
These people are bored.
Well, no, their candle is in the hurricane vase in the toilet paper rolls.
Yeah, I don't want to go to their house.
Boil potatoes in cream instead of water for the smoothest, richest mashed potatoes ever.
Well, I won't knock that until you try it, I suppose. It sounds like they might be onto something.
Yeah. Okay, we're back to cookie dough. This seems to be a thing. When making cookie dough, replace regular butter with brown butter for the ultimate flavor boost. So you're supposed to use vanilla pudding and brown butter.
The brown butter might be good for depending on what kind of cookie you're making, but the brown butter is good. It comes out nutty.
Okay, well,
but not everything calls for that.
Yeah, it looks like they're making a chocolate chip classic.
Yeah.
Classic Toll House.
That one's good.
So you think, okay.
That's good.
So out of 15, we had two were usable.
Yeah.
And this is the kind of thing that I always love this, and we're going to wrap up in a minute because I haven't even been timing, but I love talking to you. But there's always something in the news that I call Captain Obvious. Just thank you, Captain Obvious. Now, you might not believe this, Tom. But there's a long-term study that links amateur boxing to early onset dementia. So apparently being punched in the head regularly.
Without any training on how to defend yourself. I love that. I get annoyed with everybody who's like, I'm boxing now. Ugh,
yeah.
Really? You're boxing.
No, you're not. You're not boxing.
You're not. Just run around.
You ever go to a live boxing match?
No.
Oh. If you go to I went to one and it wasn't like big time. It was at Hollywood Park. Like they had the 6 rounds. So these are the boxers trying to make it to Vegas.
Right.
Yeah. They hit hard.
Yeah.
Like when they hit each other, like on TV, you have it doesn't give you the impact of being 10 feet and hearing that leather hit, and you're like, there's got to be a better way to make a living than.
Marina Franklin does it. Marina Franklin, she's been boxing, and she always posts her videos on Instagram. She's out there flat-footed and trying to think.
Yeah.
And God bless her, but I hope she's not taking smacks to the head.
Yeah, but these are the ones like who really want to be boxers, who want to be pros. It is, and
Punchy.
Yeah, it's a tough way to make a living. Like there
Yeah.
are certain sports that are just tough. Boxing is one where, okay, I'm going to stand here.
You've got to be hungry. You got to come from a hard place.
That's why I say you can't be a boxer that grew up middle class. Like no boxer grew up in the suburbs.
You don't have to fight your way out of the suburbs.
You
got to
one
fight
where
your way out.
You have to come up hard.
Yes.
To be a boxer, because
That's why Russia started having all these intense boxers.
Right.
Those people. This is life or death.
And Cuba.
Yeah.
You don't want to get in the ring. What was his name? Teofilo Stevenson, who won like the heavyweight in boxing for like 16 years, right? Because they wouldn't let him out. So he's like every 4 years, someone's going to pay.
Yeah. Now, will you decorate your house at all?
I do the Charlie Brown tree.
Nice.
I do the small tree.
I like that.
Now this year, this is my first Christmas with the Hulk.
Right.
Okay, so I don't know how he's going to feel about a tree.
He'll like it.
Yeah, he's pretty cool. I'm lucky that he's not destructive. Like,
Right.
People told me, they said, you got to keep him away from the couch because he'll eat a couch.
Yeah.
The only danger on the couch is he sleeps, like I can't get comfortable because he's sleeping on there. Like he would destroy you for trying to destroy the couch. I didn't have to, but I bought this dog bed, right? Giant dogs have joint problems.
Yeah.
Right? So they have these dog beds called the Big Barker, and it's basically a Tempur-Pedic for dogs.
Nice.
It's like his joints will be protected. It can support his weight. It's not one of those thin foams.
Yeah.
And this thing costs hundreds of dollars because I'm stupid and I have a great thing.
Because you're in love.
And I have pictures of him laying comfortably on the floor right next to his bed. He will not lay on this thing. He will sleep all around it.
He's not having it.
He's like, nah, me and my joints are okay on the ottoman. Like he loves the ottoman. I'll be asleep on the ottoman. You lay down on the.
Does the Charlie Brown go on the ground or up on a table?
Yeah, I put it on the. I put it on. It's about 3 feet high.
He might pee on it.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm worried about that because he's like, oh, you brought it inside.
Thanks.
Well, it's cold out there.
Now I don't have to walk. This is amazing. You're the best.
That is my.
Your bed was shitty, but this idea I can get behind.
That is my concern. But I get in the spirit of the season. I like Christmas.
Yeah.
I love the music, right? Because we only get to listen to the music for a month.
Exactly.
And some of the music is really good.
Yeah.
Again, unlike Hanukkah, Christmas, they've had some hits.
Yeah.
No disrespect to Hanukkah, but Christmas seems to be where the musicians lean.
It's apparently we need some Christians to come up with the Hanukkah music.
Now, gifts. Do you still buy gifts, particularly for your kids since they're growing up, or is it straight gift card, cash?
No, it's still gifts.
Nice.
Still gifts. But I'm very aware that if you throw in an Apple card or a Starbucks card, you're probably going to like that most. Way. Yeah. Than any attempt at like getting them something they'd actually wear.
Oh, Dad's still trying.
Yeah. No. And my wife, I got to buy gifts for her for sure.
I stopped with my niece. She's 17 now. So she's the last one who was getting gifts. I asked her mom, I said, what does she want? She said she likes Converses. She likes Chucks.
Right.
So I went out and bought her a pair of Chucks. Nice pair of Chucks, which she immediately took to the outlet, traded in, and got 3 pair of Chucks. So I was like, okay, we're done then. We're done with me even trying.
Yeah. Give her books.
There's an idea.
Yeah. And then you write it something in the beginning of it.
So they can't return it.
And later on, like anyone that did that for me, any aunts and uncles that gave me that, and that you do hang on to, and then you see a little note from them 20 years later.
Nice.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Good idea.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the great Tom Papa. Tom, tell them where to follow you, where to find you, what's going on.
Tom Papa is the easy way to find me. TomPapa.com, and then Tom Papa on social media, and that's where all my tour dates are and all that good stuff.
P-A-P-A, people.
P-A-P-A,
Papa.
People.
Just how it sounds.
Yeah, I thought that was going to be
easy. You sure you don't want to throw a Q in there or a silent K? Just to,
right. Yeah, the real _ comedian . No, just Tom Papa.
Man, thank you so much for coming in.
Thanks for
doing
having
this.
me. Yeah.
This is fantastic. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and all of that to you and the family. And good luck with the train rumba.
Oh.
Now, you have to teach the rumba to not attack the
I think the
village
Roomba's
again.
got to be supervised. I think the days of it just letting it go are over as long as the village is. If the mayor has anything to say about it.
Man, thank you, Tom.
All right, buddy. Good
All
seeing
right.
you.
You too.